Hello there, good morning. It's Mario here. And in this video, I wanted to share with you a couple of ideas on how do you wake up early in the morning and not feel tired? How do you attack the day with intensity? How do you avoid procrastination, staying in bed, checking your social media, which is something that I was guilty of a lot of times? And how do you frame that day to be a productive day? And first off, I want to share with you the example of what I do in the morning, what I do when I wake up. And I mean, I just woke up about 20 minutes ago. I'm making this video right now, right? And I can do this, and this video is probably going to be a higher quality video because of certain things that I've just made a habit, certain design that I have when it comes to my circadian rhythm, when it comes to my sleeping habits, which I'm going to share with you here. So how does my morning ritual start? How does my day start? Well, you can see I'm still a little bit puffy, I wake up pretty fast, and it starts with opening my eyes. So I open my eyes and my feet are about to touch the floor, and I initiate a very tiny little habit that I have, which is this is going to be a great day. That's what I tell myself. This is going to be a great day. And I do this little positive affirmation. I just do this little bit of reinforcement, reframe, whatever is on the schedule, whatever is going to come in this day, it is going to be a great day. Typically, I wake up before the alarm because I set up an alarm for about 9 hours. And since I'm getting enough sleep, which is the second big component here, I don't need the alarm usually. So I wake up, I kind of cancel out the alarm. My phone is on airplane mode. And that's a really critical factor here as well. So I don't allow any distractions. So when it comes to the duration of the sleep, I basically get about 8 hours, 30 minutes in bed. So about 8 hours, 45 minutes sometimes. And that's when I naturally wake up. The second part of that ritual is me going to the toilet. So I get the toilet over with. I step on a weight scale. So I get my morning measurement on an empty stomach after the toilet. Then I drink a big glass of water. So I drink this glass of water and that instantly wakes me up, right? That gives me a little bit of an extra push. Okay, now I'm waking up. After the glass of water, I jump into the cold shower. So that would be the step 3. So I jump into a cold shower. And there's no magic method with the cold shower. I just stay in the cold shower while the water is really, really cold and until I feel warmer, until my body temperature starts to regulate itself and my body is starting to burn off that brown fat tissue, right? So it activates the brown fat. I know, okay, I'm feeling warmer and now I can go out of it. And then I finish the cold shower and it comes to the final step, which is walking outside and spending about a minute or two in the broad sunlight. If you have sunlight, that would be amazing. Even on a rainy day, the light intensity that you get from being just outside is much, much more than just what you can get with artificial lighting. No matter how strong your light bulb is or whatever you have, most likely it's not even going to come close to what you can get in the daylight. And why am I doing the daylight part? Why am I doing this 1 or 2 minutes outside? Well, the point is to get yourself grounded in your circadian rhythm, right? The circadian rhythm is attached a lot to the exposure to high intensity light. And that's a big problem in today's world where we're spending so much time indoors. So if you wake up, if you don't go outside, and if you're, let's say, a computer freelance, you're doing some kind of work inside, you never see the sunlight, your body doesn't even know how to do the circadian rhythm because it doesn't have those signals. It needs a very strong blue light signal during the day, and then it needs to slowly start eliminating that blue light toward the night, and that's kind of a mimicking natural signal. If you use like blue blocking sunglasses in the night, or if you use an app called f.lux, you can find those apps. That's a free app, for example, and it blocks out the blue light during the night, but you need the blue light during the day. So you need very, very high intensity light during the day. So I try to mimic this by just going outside for 2 minutes, just to get my eyes to soak up a little bit of that light, and then I feel like I'm ready. That gets me up and running, right? As soon as I wake up, that gets me up and running. If I'm still feeling a little bit, I'm not sure what's going on, I might just walk around a little bit. So instead of spending 2 minutes, I'm gonna spend 5 minutes. I'm just gonna walk around in the sun, right? I'm not gonna do any special stretching or any kind of special exercise. I'm just gonna do that. And that whole thing lasts 15 minutes. So that was the first 15 minutes and I'm making this video, and that is it, right? So very, very simple morning ritual. But certain things around the morning ritual and in my life actually make this work. And for number one thing is getting enough sleep. So I don't deprive myself of sleep. There's a huge kind of in the life hacker community, there's a huge myth that you can operate 100% peak performance at about 5-6 hours of sleep. And looking at the research, I mean, this is very, very far from truth. Human beings operate between 7 and 9 hours. So if you're looking for peak performance, if you're looking for flow, if you're looking for deep work, whatever you want to call it, you need to get your sleep. This is not just common sense, but it's also like thinking to yourself, well, look, if I'm needing a huge number of alarms or like a huge sound to wake myself up, am I getting enough sleep? Why, if I just let my body sleep naturally, how much sleep am I gonna need? And that's something that a lot of people never even try. And if you try to sleep without an alarm, if you're never used to it, you're probably gonna sleep like 12 hours because of that sleep depth that you accumulated throughout the whole, let's say last month or two, until you, I don't know, last time maybe you got a couple of days where you've gotten your sleep amount. And the benefit of getting enough sleep is that you will be able to spend more time doing that optimal deep work. You're gonna spend more time as well with your family, with your friends, because you're gonna be having more free time. And that's a huge thing there, is that you can have a lot of time. You know, if I sleep only 5 hours compared to 9, I'm gonna get 4 extra hours. You know, you're gonna think, well, wow, that's a 4 hour, you know, I can get a whole project done in that time. Well, you can't, because you're not operating at the peak level. That's the problem, right? So it's a trade-off between whether you want to do faster, more efficient, higher quality creative work on one hand in less time, versus if you want to do, let's say, slower, less time efficient, just kind of being distracted work and being more hungry and all these things that come with that, and burning more muscle and losing less fat, you know, on the other hand, right? So you might have more time, but you don't have effective hours. You don't have effective work. You have a lot of busy work, for example, right? So that's a kind of a trade-off there that I think it's worth pointing out, that a lot of people are falling into that trap. You know, they're looking for some kind of hack, you know, polyphasic sleep, things like that. I mean, all the research was done is just simply that people can survive on that. It's not that people can thrive and they can be a peak performer, which is a huge difference. So going further, I mean, one thing that I also am implementing a little bit is I have a very large amount of carbohydrates right before I go to bed at night. I mean, when I say right before, I mean about an hour and a half or 2 hours before I go to bed. And carbohydrate does help me fall asleep better, and I feel like that does contribute a little bit. So in terms of the diet, that's kind of how the diet is organized. I have a little bit more fats in the earlier part of the day, and then in the later part of the day, I have more carbohydrate-based meals. So my biggest carbohydrate feeding and my biggest protein feeding is actually right before bed. So about an hour and a half, maybe 2 hours, 2.5 hours in some cases. So that's kind of the window where I have most of that. And that is in terms of the diet. I mean, there's really no magical pill in terms of supplementation. And I mean, the biggest supplement and people that most of you are familiar with is caffeine, which people drink a lot of coffee. That's one thing that I don't drink coffee, and in the past when I used to drink coffee, I actually got addicted to coffee very fast. And what it does really, it is inhibiting your adenosine receptors, so making you a little bit more alert, giving you that energy. But the problem with caffeine is that it has strong withdrawal symptoms, and then you also get used to it. So it doesn't have the same effect. You know, it has the effect for the first few weeks, then afterwards you need to increase the dose and keep increasing the dose. Eventually you become immune to the effects. And at the same time, what is happening is in your brain is that it is increasing the number of adenosine receptors. So when you try to get rid of caffeine to actually resensitize yourself a little bit, so I want to become more sensitive to caffeine again, now the problem is you have so many adenosine receptors and you're gonna feel like crap. You're gonna feel horrible. You're gonna feel low energy. You're not gonna be able to get anything done. You're gonna be feeling less focused. And it's gonna take you a couple of weeks actually to kind of a quote unquote cleanse. I hate using the word cleanse. It reminds me of those cleanse diets. But that's what it takes to go through those withdrawal symptoms, and they're horrible. You're actually going to be a lot more below your peak performance. And in general, what is not just peak performance, but you're going to be below your normal, below your baseline performance as well, which is something most people don't realize, that eventually, if you keep drinking coffee, is that your performance is going down. Your performance is going back to normal, but now you're drinking coffee and to maintain that normal performance. So it's a huge thing. So I would say that with caffeine, you want to cycle it as much as possible. So let's say a week or two on, or strategically, use it for some days when you really need it, and then on other days you don't need it anymore, right? So this is very typical with guys who use pre-workout supplements. Eventually they will start working less and less. So if you're truly into pre-workout supplements, which I'm not, you can use those compounds, but make sure to cycle to get the most benefits out of them, right? So if you use them continually non-stop every single day, it's not gonna have the same effects, as well as it's training you for those withdrawal symptoms, which will eventually kick in and it's gonna make you feel like crap. So that is kind of the summary of what I do in the morning. There's no magic pill. The things that are also, if you've noticed here, that I've set up these small tiny habits, which makes me proactive, right? So it makes me very, very proactive. I know what I need to do. So that's a big thing with getting that first thing done in the day. That is the hardest thing for me. That's how I organize my day. Eat That Frog System by Brian Tracy. So you get the hardest thing out of the way first, when you have the highest willpower, when you have the highest motivation, when you're really alert in the morning. And that's one thing that I do the night before. I actually plan what I'm gonna do the first thing the next day, all right? So I'm not gonna plan the whole day for the most part, but I will know what is the first thing that I need to tackle. So when I'm going to bed, I actually know what is gonna happen in the morning. I know what I'm gonna attack first, and then I don't need to check my email. I don't need to check my social media. I knew that I had to make this video last night, right? So I knew this video was gonna happen, and I just did the video. I haven't checked my Facebook, I haven't checked my email, I haven't checked anything yet. So once I finish with the video, then I can move on to do these other things, and I can kind of get the day started and let these all other things come to my schedule. So hope you enjoyed. Let me know in the comments below how this resonated with you, which one of these tips you want to try out, which one of those you want to implement. Maybe it's the tiny habit. Maybe it's going outside a little bit to get some sunlight to ground your circadian rhythm. So let me know in the comments below. Aside from that, as you can see, I'm a little bit more awake right now, even more than I was when I started the video, and that's just the way it is. I'm ready to go as soon as I wake up. So hope you enjoyed, as I said. If you haven't hit that subscribe button, make sure to hit it below to support the channel, as well as to get awesome content on a daily basis, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.